Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Uh, there's a lot of uh, misinformation, I believe, that's going around the U.S. And around the world regarding the commitment of our NATO allies, our European allies, in fact, the 50 country allies that all are working as one to defeat Russian aggression in Ukraine. So I'd like, Ambassador Smith, could you take some time and straighten the record out here? I mean, the contribution from Europe is extraordinary. So if you could take some time and correct some of those misconceptions.
Yes, thank you very much. There are some folks out there that believe that the U.S. has been supporting Ukraine over these last 3.5 years largely in isolation, and that's simply not the case. Our European allies have given an enormous amount of support to Ukraine. They've housed millions of refugees. They've provided critical economic and humanitarian support, but they have sent weapons. Some countries have sent them everything they had. The Baltics, the Poles, a country like Romania that sent essentially all of its air defense. These contributions have been critical to what Ukraine has been able to do to defend its territory against Russian aggression. So I completely appreciate your point. I think it's important for folks to understand that this has been an effort not just with our European allies, but with 50 countries around the world. Secretary Austin, when he was Secretary of Defense, regularly convened 50 countries from around the world, including friends in the Indo-Pacific, to each month send more critical support to our friends in Ukraine. One of those meetings is happening today, and the U.S. Secretary of Defense will not be attending the UDCG, the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. That is a shame in my mind. It's a group that requires U.S. leadership at the highest levels, and the United States started this group, and it needs to continue to lead it.
Yeah, the contact group is essential. And in fact, it's a way the U.S. is leveraging, their assets around the world too. And so I think it's critical in that regard. I also wanted to just touch base. The Russian elections that occurred in where they voted to have legitimate control over areas of Ukraine in violation of every international law that you could think of. How would you categorize those elections?
Well, it's a pretty short answer, Representative. It was a sham, and we cannot allow this to stand. In my mind, we cannot allow Russia to come in and make these assumptions and claims that the Zelensky administration is somehow a Nazi regime, that this territory that they're currently occupying belongs to Russia, that they have a right to own Crimea. None of this adheres to Ukraine's very clear territorial integrity and sovereignty, and we have to continue to stand up and push back against those types of Russian assertions.
Speaking of elections, in World War II, with martial law declared in UK, they did not have elections, did they not?
Correct.
And
Correct.
is someone familiar with the Ukraine Constitution?
Right. Right now,
martial
under
law,
martial law, they are not holding. Yes.
Martial law was called because of the Russian aggression.
Because of the war. Correct.
But their constitution would not allow that, even if they wanted to have that. Is that correct?
Indeed.
Admiral Montgomery, I don't think we spend enough time talking about Putin and who he really is. You mentioned that in some of your remarks, and we were looking at this negotiation that's going on, which is, negotiation is always a good thing. Talking is always a good thing. But how would you categorize Putin's response to these negotiations?
The offer at Istanbul last week was an insult to President Trump. I mean, President Trump has told President Putin several times, come to the table with a serious deal. And he's told him, stop doing Vladimir, stop doing the bombing. I thought there was a potential this time there would be a reasonable response. But instead, it was just a laundry list of every illegitimate Russian claim to Ukraine and every ridiculous request that they basically neuter themselves, demilitarize, and take no Western support. It was an absolute insult to President Trump, who has given President Putin more than enough time to come to the right answer.
Great.